Hello there everybody and welcome back to the channel. In this tutorial I'm gonna show you how you can easily create the backrooms inside of Blender step by step. So without any further ado, let's get started. So let's start off by deleting everything, of course, and then we're gonna add a plane. So press Shift A and add a plane. Then we're gonna scale it up by 15, so it's now 30 meters by 30 meters. Now let's go to edit mode and subdivide this plane a couple of times. So right click and subdivide. Then I'm gonna press Shift R to repeat the action, and I'm gonna repeat the action about 3 times so that we have some nice subdivisions. And now to turn this into the backrooms, I'm gonna use an add-on called the Maze Any Mesh. This add-on allows you to turn any mesh into a maze and it's completely free. If you do not have it, you can just go to the Get Extensions and search for Maze Any Mesh, and after installing it, enable the add-on and close the preferences. Now we can go to Mesh and choose Maze Mesh Selection, and it gives a total crap. That is because we have not applied the scale, which is really important. So let's undo these steps, go to object mode, then press Ctrl A and apply the scale. Now let's go to edit mode and try it again. Now it's working. But before I do that, let me just undo this. We're gonna duplicate this plane for a backup. We're gonna need it later. Let's just hide it for now. Now let's go to edit mode, and I'm gonna select these 4 faces in the middle. Then I'm gonna press Ctrl plus to extend that selection. Now I'm gonna delete these faces, and the reason I'm doing this is because I want to have some empty space in the middle and not the maze everywhere. Now let's select everything. Let's go to mesh and choose Maze Mesh Selection. Now it turns it into a maze, but it's really low. So after opening up the pop-up, let's increase the extrusion, and it doesn't go above 1, but we can type a number above 1. So let's click on it, and we're gonna type a number 2.4 because I want it to be 2.4 meters. Now you can see that these walls are really thick, so let's increase the width to make it thinner. So somewhere around like this looks pretty good. And also we're getting this boundary which looks really bad, so in the boundary let's just set it to none, and now it's gone. Also we have some parameters that we can play with, like the braiding. If we increase the braiding, it's gonna decrease the amount of dead loops in the maze, and it's gonna introduce some gaps. So I like to increase it somewhere around like this looks good. And also we have the random seed which we can randomly and we also have this random seed which you can use to get a different pattern. So play around with these values and see what you like, and after you're happy, let's go to front view, and I'm gonna select these bottom faces in wireframe mode. Make sure that the face selection mode is on and select these bottom faces. Make sure that nothing else is selected. Now we can delete these faces. Also, if you do not like the look of your maze, you can modify it in edit mode. So I'm gonna select some of these faces and I'm gonna delete them by pressing X. Make sure to not leave the gaps and fill these faces. So I'm just gonna spend a little bit of time modifying my maze.
5 minutes later.
Okay, so I've gone ahead and modified my maze according to my wish. Now let's go back to object mode and unhide the plane that we hid earlier. If we select the other plane and go to edit mode, you can see that the walls are no longer aligning with our grid. The reason being is the Maze Any Mesh add-on transforms the mesh before turning it into the maze. So with everything selected, we can press Ctrl B and increase the width, and you can see that this is slowly beginning to align with our walls. So let me cancel this and zoom in a little further, and now press Ctrl B and extend this like all the way up until all the vertices are aligning with each other, and you can hold down Shift for smaller increments of movement. Now you can see that the vertices are like really close to each other, and that is not good. So let's select everything, then press M, then choose by distance. This is gonna merge all the vertices that are closer to each other in this range, and it did nothing because right now they are not very close. So let's just slowly increase this by holding down Shift. You can start to see that it says removed 700 vertices, and that is good. Now you can see that the walls are perfectly aligning with our grid. Let's select this extra boundary and press X and delete those vertices. You can also see that the walls are not aligning, so let's go to edit mode and select these edges. And then we're going to use the snapping tool to align this. Let's set this to edge. Now press G, then X for the X-axis, and by holding down Control, move your mouse to the edge of the plane, and it's gonna snap our selection to that edge. Now let's do that to all the other sides as well. GX, holding down Control, then select these edges, then GY, holding down Control, move your mouse over to the edge, then select these edges, GY, hold down Control. And there we go. Now let's set the snapping back to increment. Also, you can see that the dimensions are different from what we started, so we can just click on these values and type a number. So let's type 30, and let's do the same for the plane as well. Let's type 30. Make sure to apply the scale because it's really important. Also, it's a good idea to rename our objects. I'm gonna call this walls, or you can also call this maze, whatever fits for you. Let's select our second plane and call this floor. Now let's add a camera into our scene. So let's press Shift A and add in a camera and position your view to wherever you like. Then we can press Ctrl Alt 0 to move the camera to that position. Now you can also press the Shift plus tilde key, which is the key under the escape key, and it looks like a wave. Now we can press the WASD keys to move around the scene, just like in a game, which is really cool. Now in this case we are not seeing the end of the backrooms, but in a lot of cases you can actually see the end of the backrooms from the camera view. So let me just quickly show you how you can fix that if it happens. So we're gonna extend this whole scene by duplicating all of these objects, but we're gonna use instancing. Before I do that, let me just rename our collection to Backrooms. Now we're gonna press Shift A, and if you go all the way down we have collection instance, and it's gonna show up all the collections you have. Currently we only have one collection, so let's click on Backrooms. So let me just move this on the x-axis by 30 meters. So what this means is that it's an exact copy of that collection, but it is linked. So any changes that we make to all the objects will also update onto this, which is really cool. And the benefit of this is that it does not increase the geometry of the scene. So it's really lightweight and it's pretty cool. We are also duplicating the camera. That is because the camera is also in the Backrooms collection, so move it out of the Backrooms collection. Now let's quickly add more collection instances to fill up the scene. So press Shift A, collection instance, and choose Backrooms, GX 30, negative 30 meters, because the size of our maze is 30 meters. So let's add two more, GY 30, and we are going to add one more, GY negative 30. And now the great thing is that we have very easily extended our scene. And this is also how I created the looping animation at the start of the video. The way you create the looping animation is actually really simple. All you have to do is say start from this point, and then you can move anywhere that you like in the scene. Just roam around wherever you like, but at the end of the animation you have to come at the exact same place. And because it's a linked copy, the starting and the end will look the same, and so when done right, it's gonna loop the animation. So another example is that you can start from here and then go all the way wherever you like. Just go wherever you like, but at the end make sure to come at the exact same place, and it's gonna loop the animation, which is really cool. Let's select all of these collection instances in the outliner and move this to a new collection. Call this instances or whatever you prefer. Now it's time to create the ceiling. So let's select our ground plane and press Shift D to duplicate it, move it on this D axis and press 2.4 because it's 2.4 meters high. Now for the ceiling, you could just use a texture for that, but there's a problem with that. Let me quickly show you. Let's create a new window and set that to the shader editor, and let's create a new material. Let's call this ceiling. And if you have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, which comes by default, so you should have it enabled, Node Wrangler, make sure that it's enabled. Now with the principal BSDF selected, we can press Ctrl Shift T on the keyboard and now browse to the folder where you have placed your textures. So I'm gonna just search for the ceiling texture that I downloaded. This is from ambienttextures.com. I'm gonna put all the links to the resources in the description down below. So let's select the color texture, the roughness, the normal GL, not the DX, is for other game engines, and the emission. Now we're gonna press the add principal texture setup, and it's gonna set up all of the textures for us, which is really cool. So let's go to rendered mode, and I'm using cycles by the way, and everything is dark. That is because in the emission we need to increase the strength. So these tiles are really big, so in the scale we can increase the scale to get more blocks. And it's good, but the problem that we see here is that these tiles are very repetitive because we are just tiling that small texture. So instead what I'm gonna do is we're gonna model these small blocks and we're gonna scatter those randomly to create the ceiling. So let's press Shift A, choose image mesh plane, and I'm gonna add the same texture that I did earlier. So the office ceiling 03, I'm gonna leave the link in the description. So let's select the color texture and import that as a mesh plane. Press Alt R to clear the rotation, and now we have the texture as a mesh plane. Let's scale this up a bit, and it has created a new material, but we already have the ceiling material, so let's just select that. Let's clear the rotation to 1. Now let's go to edit mode, press Ctrl R to add loop cuts and add more loop cuts until it matches with the texture. So 7 loop cuts in this case. Let's add 7 more loop cuts horizontally as well. Now with everything selected, make sure you're in the face selection mode. Now press Ctrl B and bevel this ever so slightly, something like that. Now press Ctrl I to invert the selection, and we're gonna extrude this down a tiny bit to add a little bit of detail. Now let's select a bulb block, then press Ctrl plus to extend the selection and press Ctrl plus one more time so that we have the border as well. Then press Shift D and put it aside. Let's select this one too, then press Ctrl plus 2 times, Shift D, put it aside. Let's select this block as well, then press P for separating and choose by loose parts. Now these are separated into different objects. Just let's right click and set the origin to geometry so that the origin is in the center. It's really important for instancing. And now to scatter these onto the ceiling, we're gonna use geometry nodes, but do not worry, it's gonna be really easy. Even if you haven't touched geometry nodes before, it's gonna be really easy. So let's select our ceiling and change the editor to geometry nodes editor, and I'm gonna select these blocks and I'm gonna move these to a new collection, and let's call this ceiling tiles or blocks, whatever you like to call. And now let's select our ceiling, and in the geometry nodes editor, let's create a new geonodes tree. And the node we're gonna need is mesh to points. So search for mesh to points, and this is gonna turn our geometry into points. and then we're going to instance those objects onto these points. But if we go to edit mode, you can see these points are on the vertices, but we want this to be in the center of the faces. So all we have to do is in the drop down we have to change this to faces. Now we're gonna add an instance on points node. It's gonna add those objects to those points. And to add the collection, we can search for a collection info node and search for our collection, or better yet, we can just click and drag the collection from the outliner straight into our geometry nodes tree. Let's plug the instances into the instance, and you can see that this is working, but we have two problems. First is that both the objects are instancing at the same time, and these are really small. So to fix this, we have to enable these checkboxes: separate children, reset children, and pick instance. Now we have to increase the scale until they all touch each other, or what we can do is we can go to edit mode, and in the mesh edit overlays enable edge length. Now if we select anything, it's gonna tell us the length of each edge. So it's 2 meters by 2 meters. This is gonna be very big for our tiles, so I'm gonna right click and subdivide one more time so that the tiles are smaller. We can turn off the edge length now, and now we have to scale this up until it's 1 meters. So somewhere like this, and I'm gonna just click and drag, and I'm gonna type 1 here so that it's exactly 1 meters. But this is still not working. The reason being is we haven't applied the scale. So let's select these and press Ctrl A and apply the scale, and now you can see that this is working. If we go to rendered mode, you can see that these are randomly scattered throughout, but the bulbs are in really high amount. I want these to be less. The simplest way to decrease the amount of this being instanced is to duplicate the other one. So let's press Alt D and duplicate this a couple of times until you get the right amount. So something like that looks good. Also, I'm gonna select our block here, and I'm gonna add a bevel modifier to bevel off the edges nicely. So let's decrease this quite a bit, somewhere like that, probably that, and increase the segment. Right click, shade smooth, and in the shading enable harden normals. Is gonna make it look a lot better. To apply this to all the other as well, let's select all of these and then this one at last. Press Ctrl L and choose copy modifiers, and there we go. Let's go to rendered mode. But how do we randomize the order of these instances? For that, we have to create a simple setup. Let me just quickly show you how to do that. The node we're gonna add is called the domain size, and now we can plug the instances into the geometry, but we have to change this from mesh to instances, and now it's gonna tell us how many instances or how many objects are in that collection. And now we can add a random value node. It's gonna give us a random value between minimum and the maximum value. So for the maximum value, we're gonna use the number of objects that we have. But first, let's change this from float to integer, and let's plug this into the maximum. And we also need to add a math node, set it to subtract, and set this to 1. The reason we are subtracting 1 is because this is set to 0 here. So you could either subtract 1 or you could just set 1 here. So let's plug this into the instance index, and now when we change the seed, we're gonna get a different order each time. So you can get whatever you like. And we could also plug this into the geometry nodes input, and now you can just control that from the modifier. Okay, now let's add a boundary so it covers the backrooms. So we're gonna press Shift A and add a cube. Make sure that it's outside the backrooms collection, because otherwise it's gonna be instanced as well. Go to edit mode and move it up on the z-axis by 1 meter, and for the height it's gonna be 2.4 meters, and for the other axis it's gonna be 30 meters. but for the x-axis it's gonna be 3 times 30, which would be 90 meters. Now apply the scale, go to edit mode, Ctrl R, add 2 loop cuts, right click to cancel the movement, and let's extrude this face by 30 and extrude this face by 30 as well. We don't need these upper and bottom faces because these are intersecting with our floor and our ground, so let's just delete those faces. Rename our object to boundary. Okay, now before we move on to the materials, we have to create the wall trim down below and add some pillars. For the pillars, let's add some cubes. Tap to go to edit mode, GZ, then 1 meters. And we want this to be in the Backrooms collection because we want this to be duplicated over to the other collections as well. Then for the height, it's gonna be 2.4 meters. Then press S, Shift Z to scale it on all the axes except the Z axis. So something like this looks good. Let's apply the scale and let me split up the window, and in this one I'm gonna be in camera mode, and in this one I'm gonna go to top mode, and I'm gonna place these cubes wherever you like, and you can use the snapping to be accurate, but let's just keep it simple and duplicate it over here and there wherever you like. I think it looks good. Now let's select these and let's select the walls at the end, then press Ctrl J to merge this. Now to create the wall trim, we could go ahead and start adding loop cuts, but this is just gonna take forever. So instead, what I'm gonna do is first I'm gonna press the forward / key to go to local view, and this is only gonna show the object that we have selected. Now let's go to front view, and I'm gonna add a loop cut using the knife tool. So press K for the knife tool. Now let's put it somewhere here, and then press X for the x-axis, and also press C, which is cut through, because if this is not turned on, then the loop cut is only gonna be added to different parts of the mesh. So press C so that it cuts through the entire mesh. Now press enter to confirm, and now let's look from the camera view. It's a little bit high, I think. So with the vertex selection, let's select this edge loop and probably move this down just a tiny bit, and now let's select this entire face loop and press Shift D to duplicate this. Now press P to separate this and choose selection. Now we have separated that wall trim, but we cannot select it. It's really difficult. So by holding down Alt left click, it's gonna let us choose which object to select, and let's select the walls 0.001. Let's quickly rename this to wall trim. Now let's add a new modifier, and it's gonna be the solidify modifier to give it thickness. Now let's increase the thickness, but it's growing inside instead of outside, so let's set the offset all the way up to 1 and increase the thickness. If we increase the thickness, it's growing really weird, so let's change the mode to complex, and now it's gonna follow the boundary a lot better. So let's decrease the thickness. Something like this looks good. Let's also add a bevel modifier and decrease the amount, something like that. Increase the segment to 2, right click shade smooth, and also harden the normals. And now to copy the modifier to this one, we can shift select this, then press Ctrl L and copy the modifiers, but it also has copied the solidify modifier, so let's delete that. Now to get out of this local view, all we have to do is press the forward / key again. Now it's looking pretty good, but it's looking a lot more like Severance instead of Backrooms. That is because we haven't added the materials. So let's select our walls, go to the shader editor, create a new material, and let's call this walls maze or whatever you like. Now let's add in an image texture, and I'm gonna open up the Backrooms wallpaper texture that I found of Reddit. I'm gonna give the link in the description, and let's just plug this into the base color. And this is looking really weird. That is because we haven't unwrapped our object. So let's go to UV editing, and so you could go ahead and start adding seams to your model and then unwrapping the object, but it's really gonna take a long time because we have a lot of these. So for a quick and dirty unwrapping, you can select everything, press U and choose cube projection, which is good for cuboid objects, and it's gonna create a quick and dirty unwrap for us. Now let's go to the layout tab, and it is working. We have to increase the scale of this. So if you have the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, which comes by default, so you should have it enabled, we can select the image texture, press Ctrl T to bring up a texture coordinate and a mapping node, and in this scale we can increase this to something that we like. And I just noticed that the texture isn't seamless, but this is really not going to be that noticeable, so it's not that big of a deal. And now I like to tweak the colors of this to match with the Backrooms better. So let's add in a color ramp node, plug that here, and I'm gonna bring this stop all the way to the left so that the darker part is like really subtle, something like this. And for the color, it's a yellow color, so something like that looks good. We can always tweak this later. If you want to copy the exact color, you can copy the hex code or these RGB values. And for the roughness, I'm gonna increase this a little bit. And for the darker color, I'm gonna just copy this color by pressing Ctrl C, and then I'm gonna paste that here by pressing Ctrl V, and I'm gonna decrease the value of this to be darker. Something like that looks good. And now for the wall trim, I'm gonna create a new material called this wall trim. I'm gonna paste the same color, but for this one I like to put it towards orange a little bit and increase the saturation and decrease the value of it. Something like that looks good. Increase the roughness. For the floor, let's create a new material, call this floor. Now with the Node Wrangler add-on enabled, we can select the principal BSDF, press Ctrl Shift then T to bring up our texture, the Fabric 025 texture. Make sure to choose the color, the roughness, and the normal GL. Add principal texture setup and increase the scale somewhere like 15 or 20. And for this, I'm gonna copy this color ramp and I'm gonna paste that here and put it there. And maybe it's a little bit too bright, so let's move it to the right a bit, something like that. And for the ceiling, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna add a mix color node, plug that here, and for the color I'm gonna paste that color, but we're not gonna set this to mix because it's gonna overwrite that color. So we're gonna change this mix to color and increase this. So now it keeps the texture, but it gives a yellow tint to that texture. And we can also increase the strength of our bulbs, probably like 6. And a really cool trick is that we can add the object info node here, and if we plug the random into the strength, all of these bulbs are gonna be of random strength, but this is really low. So I'm gonna add in a map range node, plug that here. This random texture is from 0 to 1, but we're gonna remap it. So for the lowest value, I'd like it to be say 2, and for the highest value we could go 8, or probably 3 or 6. You can play around with this. Okay, now in the rendering tab, in the color management, I'm gonna set the look to probably high contrast or medium high contrast.
and you can also change the view to AGX or filmic. It's up to your personal preference. And I'm also gonna select our camera here, and I'm gonna set the focal length to be wide, something like 25. Looks good. But to get some real camera distortion, what we are going to do is set the type to panoramic, and it's gonna turn this into a fisheye lens, but we are also getting this border. So let's increase the lens to zoom this in, and now this looks like really good. But the lens distortion is really high, and this value doesn't go above 15, but we can type a value above 15. So let's see 25, and it looks really good. And to disable this to render outside this camera, we can press Ctrl B and create this selection, and it's not gonna render the outside of this. And now it looks really good. What is this? Okay, I just forgot to add the material to this wall, so let's open up the shader editor and add the walls material to this. Go to edit mode, and we're gonna unwrap it by cube projection. But this pattern is very big, so in the UV editor I'm just gonna scale this up a bit. Something like that looks good.
So that does it for this tutorial, guys. If this video does well, then I can create a next part showing you how to create the looping camera animation, and also show you how to composite the animation so that it looks more realistic and looks like found footage from Backrooms. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button for more videos. I'll be back.